All right, joining me right now, Mike McKinney. Do we call you modified standout? Do we call you future late model standout? Like, what do we call you at this point?
Yeah, I'll take whatever I can get at this point. So,
So, give me an idea about what you up to right now. Those of you who, or those out there who know who you are, know you're kind of right in the middle of summer national stuff going on right now. But where are you right now, and kind of what's your schedule looking like right now?
yeah, man, we've been going crazy. We've pretty much been racing every dang day for the last, I couldn't tell you how many past weeks. So it's been pretty crazy. Just me and Dad going up and down the road and trying to, do as much work as we can to make to the next track and perform and keep going. So actually, there's two phases to this whole summer national schedule this year. Normally it's the 28 races in 32 days, but kind of with the craziness of this year and all the COVID stuff, they were able to break it up into two phases. So that this past weekend over at Kokomo, we didn't get to finish the weekend due to the rain, but that was the end of the first phase for us, and now we actually have a week-long break. So there's no races this whole week, and then we kick off next Monday at East Moline, go Tuesday at Sycamore, Illinois, Fairbury Wednesday, and then we're kind of right back in it again with the rest of the week, and so we're off this weekend with modified. But as of right now, I plan on going to Cedar Lake this weekend with a late model for the USA Nationals. So that'll be really cool. I'm going to head up there in a couple of days. The late model guys are getting her all ready right now. So right now we're kind of just hanging out, had an off day here and kind of getting things washed up. And we got to do a motor swap in the modified at some point this week. It's the motor we've had. I've kind of expected it to blow up like a month ago now, but it's still plugging away. So finally got a free day to go up to Wisconsin where a motor builder is and pick up a motor. So we'll drop that in this week. And we were kind of ready Sunday at Kokomo. We kind of had all of our stuff ready to roll for that feature there. And the rain came in and now that's postponed. So all our stuff's kind of ready to go. So we'll just like I said, go drop that motor in, kind of do some nut and bolt check and jump back on tour.
Give me an idea about like when you go run summer nationals. Like have you run all of the races before? Like you haven't run all of the races this season, right?
Right. No, I mean for the modifieds, they take your top 8 nights for the points.
Okay.
Late models, every single night counts for late models. So those guys chasing the championship, they pretty much have to show up to every single one. So we could show up to every single one if we wanted to, but at the end of the day, they're only going to take your best 8 nights. So really, we tend to try and go to the tracks that make sense for us to go to. I like a lot of racetracks. So we definitely show up to all the ones that are kind of feasible to show up to and ones we feel like we can, maximize our opportunity with and try and get a win or get the most points. So, we've only missed, so far this year, we've only missed a couple. So, I mean, there's not too many racetracks I don't like. So we've hit a lot of them. I know I missed like Highland and Tri-City and those ones out in Missouri, the modifieds weren't on the schedule for. So we hit a big chunk of them. I think kind of when we followed this deal the first time in 2018, and we ended up running like 18 of them. So we do quite a lot and, try and maximize those best 8 nights. If you can get 8 wins, you're sitting pretty good. So, we try and do quite a bit. And, right now we're kind of in the battle with, at this points deal. So we're going to keep going till the end here.
What's it look like when you're out there, on a night-to-night basis? It seems like it's a who's who of modified racing. And, obviously Mike Harrison's won a ton of these things. Hoffman's been so good lately. What's it like having to battle night in and night out with these guys to try to win a championship like that?
Yeah, no, it's tough. For this UMP modified stuff, this is the premier series, of the whole season. So, there's a lot of publicity behind it. Obviously all these races are streamed on DIRTVision in the middle of the week. So there's tons of eyes on it. It's a really, it's a feather in the hat to go win, one of these races, let alone the championship. And it's tough, because all these guys, we know this is the big deal throughout the summer, and we all try to come and win. Obviously Harrison's won it, I don't know, 100 times, and Nick's won it Nick's got 2 of them now, and he's off to a hot start this year. So I kind of thrive on racing competition. That's the only thing that makes you better. And the beauty of this deal is we're racing every day. Kind of your weekly racer will go race Friday, Saturday. Then they got a whole week to think about, what they did wrong or what adjustments they got to make. And, for us, we load up head of the next track and boom, it's already the next weekend for us, so to speak. And, we're ready to make new adjustments and start a new night. So it's a really great way to improve your program racing every single day. And I think it's definitely excelled us to get where we're at throughout the years.
For you, obviously being a modified guy, where you're kind of from in that kind of Indiana, Illinois, like there's a ton of different racing going on. There's a ton of different tracks, a ton of different car types. Why did you choose to go modified racing when you were younger?
I started out in the UMP street stock ranks and I ran that for 3 years. We were fortunate enough to win a UMP national title in my third year in 2012, and kind of to I think the dream for everybody is kind of go the late model route, and kind of that next step from the street stocks is the UMP Modifieds. I've been fortunate. Nick Hoffin's my best friend for a really, really long time. And that same year, I was going to transition out from the modifieds from the street stocks to the modifieds. He was starting his elite chassis company. So I've been there with him from the start, and I was there helping him, create the name and create the logo and everything. So just happened to be he was starting his chassis company the same year I was looking to move out of street stock. So having that connection made it, that much easier to, move to modifieds, and, he helps us out a ton and still does to this day. So kind of had that connection, and, tech support from him made that jump a whole lot easier. And, I'm kind of now dipping my toes into the late model stuff, and hopefully that's something we can continue to do.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you kind of about that transition from modifieds into late models. What can you take from driving a modified into driving a late model?
Yeah, definitely a lot. The modifieds, almost have don't have a whole lot less horsepower compared to that late model, and they're on half the tire size. So I kind of tell people that the modifieds like driving on ice compared to that late model. The late model's got double the tire and just a little bit more horsepower. So you can really, you're kind of used to tiptoeing around in the modified, where you jump in that late model and it's balls out, all night long. So I think you see a lot of guys who have succeeded in the modifieds do really well in the late models. You take Ricky Thornton Jr., who's he's on fire right now, and anything he jumps in, he's been a lifelong modified guy. There's been so many, Kyle Bronson, he was a mod guy for a long time. There's so many modified guys that have jumped into late models and had success, and hopefully, I'm kind of hoping I can turn into one of those guys someday.
One of the things, I worked at World Racing Group for a really long time, and one of my big projects was the kind of online dirt car point system, and getting that up and running for you guys. One of the things that I was always curious about is with a series like that, taking only a certain amount of finishes, how do you kind of maximize where you're going to go race and how often you race? Like, do you have those thoughts in mind, or do you just kind of go race and let the rest of it kind of shake out on its own?
Yeah, just it kind of depends on how your season is going. If you're running well and winning a whole bunch of races, it's really easy to tell yourself, hey, we need to go here, go there, and keep racing. And I feel like I'm kind of gonna go race somewhere on the weekends, no matter what, because I'm not just gonna sit at the house. So there's a lot of times where it kind of just you go run your races and it plays out how it plays out. But I feel like everyone we kind of eyeball it, every other week or so to see where you're sitting, especially for the national points. Then it kind of gets down to the last month or so, and you see, hey, we got a shot at winning a $20,000 championship for UMP national points. We better go get our races in, and then a lot of that too with national points and summer national points comes down to bonus points. So we get 75 points for a win. Then it's 1 point for every car over 25, so you can get a max to a max of 30 cars. So if you win a race with 30 cars, you're gonna get 80 points that night. So towards the end of the year, when we're all kind of chasing points, we'll try and find tracks or bigger events that we know we're going to have higher car counts, so we can get those bonus points. So yeah, there's a lot of race chasing, so to speak, at the end of the year to kind of maximize your points, maximize your wins, and kind of make your whole year worth of traveling worth it.
Kind of back on the late model stuff, what does this opportunity for you look like this year for the late model? Who are you driving for, and kind of what do you want to, what races are you trying to hit this year? And I know you mentioned maybe Cedar Lake this weekend, but what else are you kind of looking at?
Yeah, so I got an opportunity with Doug Curlis from CW Trucking to drive his, his brand new XR1 late model. We've kind of been off to a slow start this year. I ran a handful of races, at least 5 races. Ran World of Outlaws show, Lucas Oil Race show, and a couple other shows. We've kind of, like I said, had a slow start. We've been battling some engine issues, so I haven't raced like about the last month in it because we've been trying to sort out a motor. And so we finally got that settled out. I think the plan here is to go to Cedar Lake and test the waters up there. It's a super good opportunity for me. It's definitely a dream of mine to go super late model racing full time one day and kind of be one of those top guys that's a threat to win races. So like I said, we're kind of off to a slow start, and it's kind of been a crazy year with scheduling. We had a big long schedule planned out, and then we had some engine issues, and then a lot of those races we had scheduled out have obviously been canceled due to everything that's been going on this year. So hopefully we're kind of just kind of getting the ball rolling this year. Then hopefully next year, if things are kind of back to normal, we can kind of tackle that full time and kind of do what we had planned this year. And so I think we're just kind of right now maybe prepping ourselves for next year. And it's a great opportunity for me and something I'm trying to take full advantage of. I'm taking it super seriously and hoping to do something with it for sure.
With so much late model racing available to you, and obviously between the local stuff and the two national tours and summer nationals, how are you going to decide going forward, like where you're going to race, who you're going to race with? It just seems like there's so much to do on a weekly basis.
Yeah, it's hard, especially right now. I love doing the modified stuff, and truthfully, with the modified stuff, I know I'm a threat to win pretty much everywhere we go, and I have a good shot at making some money. And I know the late model stuff, I'm gonna get my butt kicked for a while, but I got my butt kicked for a while when I moved into the modified class, and now I feel like we're one of the top teams in the country. So I kind of with the modified stuff too. I put a lot of pressure on myself to go win, because I feel like we can do that. And with the late model stuff, it's kind of taken me back for a little bit, anyways, having some fun. Racing. I think my first ever race was a World Outlaw late model race in Davenport, Iowa, and I lined up right behind Scott Bloomquist. And for me, I'm like, there ain't no pressure there. This guy's gonna smoke me. For me, so I don't have a whole lot of fun modified racing anymore because it's strictly business for me. So the late model racing as now has become fun for me. It's allowed me to have fun, go back to the racetrack. But obviously there's going to be a point where I feel like I hope to become competitive, and it's going to stop being fun, and that's going to turn into a job too. So but there's races like crazy, and it just kind of whatever's feasible to go to, and whatever we feel like we can compete and get some wins.
Who besides like somebody like Hoffman are you able to kind of lean on to get advice, or to ask questions to, and whether that's in a modified or in a late model?
To be honest, there isn't a whole lot of people. We've kind of always been guys that me and my dad, it's just me and him everywhere we go. And we've always kind of stuck to ourselves, and we kind of, park in the corner and kind of mind our own business. But, as far as the modified stuff, but the late model stuff, I've been kind of leaning on a lot of guys. Brandon Shepard's been, in my ear a lot about stuff. Tyler Erb, a lot of guys who are driving rocket cars that, have kind of tried a lot of stuff. And even driving cars too. I feel like I've kind of gotten to the point in my career where I might be the guy where people are asking, info for. So, I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of people along the way. I was just a kid in the street stock at 16 years old who didn't know a single soul, and now I feel like I know just about everybody in the pit area. So it's super cool to see where this is all taken me. I'm definitely grateful for everybody I've learned off of all the along the way, and who have gotten me where I'm at right now.
I wanted to ask you, and remind me if I'm incorrect here, but the Fairbury race, I think it was 2 weeks ago, probably at this point, with Alan Weiser, where you guys were kind of swapping the lead back and forth the whole race, throwing sliders. What is it like when you kind of get into one of those battles with somebody like that, where you're doing that? Like, do you know that he's like kind of right off of your corner panel? Like, I mean, do you know exactly where he's at, and what's it like kind of jumping in and throwing those slider battles like that?
Sure. Yeah, no, all the fans come up to you and say, "Oh man, that was the greatest race I've ever seen. It looked like so much fun." And from the driver's seat, you're like, "Man, that wasn't fun at all." I'd much rather be the guy who wins by a straightaway versus do that. But the fans love it, and it's intense. I feel like every kind of sense goes out the window, and it's just all just instant reaction time. Especially that race, we were going through lap traffic like crazy. It was like Chicago traffic out there, and we were just kind of going where everybody wasn't. And it kind of came down to that last corner there. So. You have to have the fastest, your instincts are so fast. I don't think they become instincts anymore. It's just kind of happens, and you do whatever you can do to hang on. And it's definitely high pace. It gets the fans on their feet, and it feels like more often than not, I'm kind of the guy in the mix of those finishes. Puts on for a good show, sells a lot of T-shirts, and kind of gets my name out there. But I'd much rather be the guy who's out there winning by a straightaway. But going back and watching the videos, they're always really cool.
When you have, multiple races kind of back-to-back nights, what does car maintenance look like? What does that kind of workflow look like, once you kind of get finished and then trying to get to the next place? And I know you keep mentioning your dad. Is it just you and your dad out there trying to get stuff done?
Yeah, no, it's just me and my dad every single night. We have one buddy who kind of comes to the local races, but anytime we're traveling far away, it's just me and dad, and that's how it's been, since I started when I was 16. So, it's pretty crazy. Going the day to day just kind of depends on how rough of a night you had before. I think that night at Fairbury when I won that you're talking about, I blew the whole deck out. So, that makes for a long night before you go to bed, and a long morning kind of finishing it all up. But, the days where you're running good, you don't have a whole lot of body work. We're just kind of just doing our nuts and bolts, getting tires ready. The motor we've been running, it's been pissing oil like crazy. So we're always kind of putting oil back in that and trying to make sure that thing's going to make it the next night. And then, you're driving to the next track, whether you're stopping at a Walmart or driving all the way to the pit area of the next track to sleep for a few hours. And we prefer to get up pretty early and get stuff unloaded and get to work. So, It's a lot of work with just me and dad, but that's how it's always been. That's kind of how I like it. I know if he doesn't get to something, it's gotta, I gotta do it, and vice versa. So I've never been a guy that's kind of like to have a whole lot of guys around, just because I'm scared something's gonna get missed, and rightfully so. There's not a whole lot of people I trust besides him. So it's been fun. Especially when you're running good, it makes it that much easier to get in the truck and drive a few hours. You're all hyped up, but when you're running bad, you kind of question what you're doing. But fortunately, we've been running pretty good, and it's been making it easier to jump in the truck and unload early and get back to work.
I think one of the things that probably a lot of people recognize you from, at least your name from, is all of the iRacing stuff. While everything was shut down, you kind of get an opportunity to jump in there and kind of make a name for yourself on TV and winning races and things like that. What was that kind of experience like, and how has your kind of how have you noticed your profile being raised now that you've been back at the racetrack?
Yeah, no, it's that was super cool. It's definitely, I think, I don't think I, necessarily really appreciate it right now, but I think, 5-10 years, down the road when we're thinking everything that's happened in 2020, I think I'll be able to remember that time where, remember we were racing, a video game on national TV in front of all these people for all this money and stuff. I don't think a whole lot of people know, but I wasn't a kid who raced up or grown up racing go-karts and stuff like that. I jumped in a street stock when I was 16, and before that, all I did was sim race online. Sim racing is where I learned how to race, where I learned how to run a line, learn how to throw slide jobs. A lot of stuff I do now is, I learned playing a video game. So it was super cool. I've been, with UMP, I've been a World Racing Group competitor my whole life. So it was super cool. The Outlaws coming in there and putting that whole deal together was something I was obviously really comfortable with. I might have had a little bit of advantage on guys, but I was able to partner up with NOS Energy Drink and, able to really promote myself on Fox Sports 1 and CBS and DIRTVision, and really get my name out there. There's guys that come at me in the pit area now that said, they watched all during quarantine. It's super cool. And yeah, I feel like, I've been selling a whole lot more t-shirts this year compared to any other year. So, that definitely doesn't hurt. And, I was super grateful to be a part of that. And, I think, of all the bad stuff, that's happening, kind of in life in 2020, I think, during this whole deal, I think that's definitely one good thing I'll take away from it.
While that was going on, how much prep were you doing? We obviously heard crazy stories about guys kind of racing all day long and practicing. Were you one of those guys doing that?
I was ready for it to be over. I was, I was, me and Logan Seavey are really good buddies. And, I was helping him quite a bit on the late model side, and he was helping me on the sprint car side. And really, we were all sitting there playing iRacing regardless, whether that whole series was going to come in or not. We had nothing better to do. So when they came in and you were racing for $1,000 a night, we're racers, we're competitors, and we were killing ourselves trying to build. You got to build your setups. We were trying to figure out what track changes were going to come, and we're doing literally nothing. The beauty of iRacing is, if you want to sit there and make 1 million laps a day, you can. In the real world, you don't get any practice. So, best believe we were sitting there turning 1 million laps a day, trying to find every single quirk to go fast and, kind of get the max exposure and, go make some money. So, we were killing ourselves for sure. I was, when they said it was they announced, the last race was the last race, I wasn't complaining. I felt like I got everything out of it I could, but, I'm super grateful for World Racing Group and the Outlaws for doing that. It sure was a lot of fun.
We got to see kind of little bits and pieces of it. DIRTVision would put out those kind of hot mic pieces, but like how much shit talking was actually going on while you guys were racing each other?
Yeah, no, it was cool. There's a lot of guys, a lot of us were sim racers before. Then you take a lot of the regular outlaw guys who've never been on there in their life, So, you get, we were racing with Scott and, Brand Shepherd was on there. Then you go to the sprint car side with Gravel and, whoever else. And it was kind of cool to see what opinions they had. And, so I think a lot of the sim racers who had some experience were kind of giving shit to the real world guys who couldn't really figure it out. And once the real world guys started figuring it out, they started getting a little cocky and started fighting back. So, it was pretty cool to see the guys who had some experience on there, go up with the real world guys. And, I commend those real world guys for sitting down and figuring it out. Especially a guy like Scott Bloomquist. I thought that was, I feel like you never expect a guy like him to jump on a video game and go do it. And then I'm pretty close with Cody Sumber, who's running his team now. And they actually had me come down to his shop after the first or second race. And I went down to Mooresville and went to his shop and kind of showed him some pointers and turned a bunch of laps with him. And, spent a weekend at his shop helping him learn iRacing. And he was all about it. So it's stuff like that. Super cool. It kind of brought us all together there for a few months and brought a lot of publicity to us, the racers and the Outlaws as well. And kind of it kind of all hyped them up to go back real world racing. So I think it was a super good deal for the Outlaws, and I'm very fortunate they did it.
Is there, obviously being somebody like yourself who's done as much sim racing as you can, how much can you take from that over to the real world? And like, with you getting ready to kind of do more late model stuff, can you jump on there and learn things in the late model and iRacing that you can then take to the racetrack?
Right as of now, since I have so much real world experience, there's not much more I can take away from it than I already have. But like I said, I didn't grow up racing go-karts. I feel like everything you learn, you can learn running a go-kart. You can learn on iRacing or any other sim racing platform. I learned it's all about just learning your kind of race etiquette. I literally learned how to throw slide jobs on there, and I kind of test myself I don't get caught up in many wrecks. And I feel like, on sim racing, there's more wrecks than ever. So it kind of teaches you to look past your nose, look to the next corner, and dodge wrecks, dodge traffic. Just learning your racecraft, learning how to give guys room. There's a lot of throttle control involved as well. So I feel like everything you can learn at a young age or through a go-kart or quarter midget or what have you can definitely be done through sim racing. And, I feel like I'm a testament to that. And I've been fortunate to have a lot of success on sim racing. And I feel like, I definitely credit a lot to what I've been able to do in the real world.
I want to kind of ask you a little bit kind of about the business of modified racing. And I feel like you kind of had one of the more recognizable cars out there. And I don't know if it's just because you've had a similar paint scheme for kind of a couple of years, but, what's it like trying to approach companies to try to support you? And you've got like the Dirt Tracking app and kind of some decent names behind you and the NOS stuff, like, you're wearing your NOS sweatshirt right now. Is it difficult to sell the modified stuff to companies or has it become easier or, what's that kind of look like?
I think it's definitely become easier over the years. I think we've definitely started to get a lot more publicity, and the competition has been thriving. I feel like, probably 20 years ago, everybody would see the modified class and kind of write them off as, kind of like a street stock class or something. But, we've been having such high profile races the last, I'd say 5 years or so. And, a lot of big names that have come out of modified racing into late model racing. And so I think we've been getting a whole lot more respect. And, I've been fortunate enough, like I kind of said earlier, I started out as a kid in a street stock who didn't know a single soul. And, now we've been able to partner with so many people and have support with so many great people. And, have all jumped on board and supported our program. And, I've never really been a big asker. I've never really been the guy to kind of go up to people and heckle them to, throw some money to get a logo on our car. And been kind of fortunate enough that a lot of people have come our way and, wanted to be a part of our program. So I'm super fortunate of that. And, I've always kind of had a knack for the marketing side of the sport, and I try and do as much for our sponsors as I can on social media and stuff like that. So it's something that's I take a lot of pride of representing all these people, and I try and do what I can for them.
The UMP modified class is always one of the biggest classes. And one of the things that, doing the point system like I did, there's 1,000 cars that, will attempt a UMP modified show over the course of a year. What is it about that platform that is so appealing to racers? And kind of give me what's like the UMP modified sales pitch, if you're a racer trying to figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, it's I think they're just badass. I mean, we've got a lot of great. It's not your street stock, but it's not your late model. It's right there, perfect in the middle. It's expensive, but it's not quite late model expensive. We've got a lot of great shows. There's plenty of you feel like every local track now, kind of in all over the Midwest is running them. So you can go race them pretty much all over the country. And we've got, great competition. I feel like we have more competition in the modified class than we do in the late model class. And it's really tough. And, I feel like it's definitely for a lot of guys that probably can't go late model racing, modifieds is just as good for sure. So there's, we have so many high paying races. I think Labor Day weekend this year, I think at Farm City, Fairbury, and Spoon River, wherever it is, we have 10,000 wins in a row. So, I mean, Summer Nationals is huge. Going to Florida every year is huge. So I think, definitely the modified classes be getting more and more respect every single year. We keep getting all these races. And, I think modified racing is just as big as late models nowadays, especially here in the Midwest. So, I think it attracts a lot of people. We tend to put on a pretty good show. I feel like everywhere we go, and I think the fans are more excited for modifieds each and every year, and I think that's why they keep having races for us.
What else have you driven besides late models and modifieds? I know you mentioned street stocks too. And are there other things you're interested in driving? Are you interested in any of the open wheel stuff? Are you interested in pavement racing? What are you kind of looking at for the future?
Yeah. I started out in a UMP street stock, ran that for 3 years, and been mod racing ever since, and just now dabbling into to the late model stuff. But I don't think a whole lot of people know a lot about me. I'm a huge race fan. I'm a big road racing fan, big open wheel fan. I'd kill to jump at a midget. All my buddy. I'm friends with every single USAC guy being out in Indy, and they all call me crazy for wanting to get in a non-wing sprint car versus a wing sprint car. I don't think I could do the wing sprint car, but that'd definitely be cool. I'm a big road course fan. Like I said, I'd love to go test like a Pro Mazda or something to kind of do the road to Indy thing. Obviously like F1's a pipe dream goal or something. I'm a big fan. I follow V8 supercars, IndyCar, F1. Man, I'm a huge motorsports fan, and there's nothing without a steering wheel I probably want to drive.
I'll let you get going here pretty quick. I want to know, what's a favorite track of yours, and what's a track you haven't been to yet that you want to get to?
Man, I get asked the favorite track thing a lot, and I really don't have one. A lot of people kind of expect it to be Fairbury because I've won a lot of races there, but I love going anywhere that's new. Really, getting to go down to Volusia is a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of Tyler County, West Virginia. We were able to win that summer national race earlier in the month at Brownstown, Indiana. I really like just going to new places. I kind of get tired of kind of seeing the same tracks every week. Driving on same freeways to get there. I love venturing out and going somewhere new. This weekend, if we end up going to Cedar Lake, that place looks really fun. I've been there a couple times, but I've never raced on it. So yeah, I never really like kind of a lot of guys just say that they like the next one, wherever they're going next. So that's kind of how I approach it. They're all round and brown. Everybody asks me if we go somewhere, oh, how's the racetrack? That's round and brown. So just another racetrack to me. If we run good, we run good. If we don't, we don't. Racetracks with good atmospheres are always fun to show up to. We went to Clarksville, Tennessee the other week, and that was my first time ever there. But the racetrack was okay. It ended up kind of being one lane, kind of couldn't do much, but the facility was really cool. It was packed full of fans. We're out in the middle of Tennessee. I've never been there, and there's fans everywhere buying shirts and stuff. So it's stuff like that kind of gets me excited, and I really like tracks with good atmospheres. And yeah, so just kind of the next one, wherever we're headed next, I'm kind of amped up to hit them all.
I'll let you go on this last question. It's kind of a stupid question, but somebody like me, I've never driven a dirt car before in my life. But the tear-off thing. So I was watching an onboard video with Shannon Babb the other day. And first of all, how do you not grab all of the tear-offs at once? And second of all, how come no one uses like the automatic tear-off deals? Why is everybody still using the manual tear-offs?
Oh yeah. No, if somebody's told you they've never pulled them all off at once, they're definitely lying to you.
Okay.
I feel like it definitely takes some practice. Those things are super thin, and I feel like you got to do it as quick as possible. You kind of just got to hit it perfect so you don't grab them all. So it definitely takes some experience to pull those things off. And I feel like people have tried like the automated ones before. Like I know a lot of the dirt bike racers use those the roll-offs. I think they call them like in the outdoor series. I'm a big motocross fan as well. So so I think the roll-offs. I feel like sprint car racers have tried it before, and I feel like I don't know. Maybe we're just doing so much mud that I feel like that thing probably doesn't work. But I feel like there's probably I feel like probably 10, 15 years down the road, we'll look back and think, why the heck were we using tear-offs? Somebody's going to come out with something we should have thought of a long time ago. But that's definitely another aspect of the sport. We're always up. I feel like we have one hand on the wheel the whole time and a hand on the helmet, feeling tear-offs the other. So it's definitely entertaining.
Yeah, it always blows me away watching you guys. And I actually had tweeted about this not long ago, watching a sprint car roll down the backstretch. You're like in the middle of a 3-wide battle, and a guy reaches up before a tear-off. Like, how are you going to take a hand off the steering wheel right now?
It's definitely an acquired skill, that's for sure.
Well, I appreciate the time, Mike, and good luck with the Summer Nationals for the rest of that season, and good luck to Cedar at Cedar Lake this weekend if you head up there.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. I'm a big fan of the show. I watch it all the time, so it's an honor to be on here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.